Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where and when you are watching us from. My name is Mutathi wa Wachira wa Nyaga Mujiro wa mbari ya Karingithi na ngwihoka kuma ng'ongo ciothe iria ciumaga huho muri thayo. Today, because we have a Gusa all the way from Tanzania, I have to say ahlan wa sahlan wa barakatuh for everybody who is watching us across the continent. Thank you very much. Today is the 25th day of the 6th month of the year 2023. It's a good evening. It's a wonderful day here in Kenya. Everything is good. Today we're having a very interesting conversation under the theme of Pan-Africanism. So I would like, first of all, before we go ahead, to hear Kipto tell us how you are, tell us what you do, and anything that you learned to share with us as an introduction so that we can get into the conversation. Kipto.
Wachira, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Today being a day where we are going to speak about Pan-Africanism, I think that is really a very nice and actually the best way to introduce oneself. So my name is Kipto. That is my name. I was also given another name without my consent, of course, Kennedy, and because it already appears in my documents and everything, I'll just have to use it. But if given a chance, I would probably change it to maybe Igusa Kipto or Wachira Kipto to reflect my Africanness. So I must admit that I'm so privileged to be a part of this noble discussion tonight. And, looking at the name of our forum itself, the Africa Kona, it really speaks to the fact that all that is discussed here is centered and inclined towards maybe providing solutions to African problems, or even discussing everything and anything that has Africa in it. So thank you so much, Wachira, for having me here tonight, and thank you, Mr. Igusa, from all the way from Tanzania. Karibu sana. I do not speak very good Kiswahili, but I hope with time I'll get to to speak some good Kiswahili. So thank you so much.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Kipto, for being here tonight. Basi pande ule mwingine wa Afrika Mashariki, Igusa, all the way from Arusha, Tanzania. How are you? How is everything that side? Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Wachira, and thank you so much, Brother Kipto, and everyone. Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, or whatever. Yeah, but all in all, may God's peace and blessing be upon you. My good names are Igusa Mohammed Kapesa. I am a Tanzanian by birth, but also I'm a Nyamwezi. Yeah, we are the proud tribe. If you have ever heard stories about Mirambo, Chief Mirambo, so I belong to his tribe. So I work at Cornerstone Leadership Academy as a country coordinator. A country coordinator for a program called Alarm Mentoring Program, and here I'm just putting on the T-shirt of our program. Yeah, so it's always about a peace movement, and to me, I'm blessed to be, for the second time, to be part of this wonderful session with Mr. Wachira and the rest, and I'm blessed. I'm looking forward to learn from my friends across East Africa, but also to throw in some insights on my view about Pan-Africanism. So I'm looking forward to be part of the session, and thank you.
Asante sana Igusa kutoka Tanzania. Thank you. I don't know if Jean-Luc can hear me. I don't know if Jean can hear me from Rwanda. I think he's experiencing some trouble there. It's good. Gus has mentioned the t-shirt that he's wearing. I got to be introduced to him with a friend of mine called Omar, and I understand they work in the same line. I want us to get into the questions because I can see today the networks are really acting up. I don't know what is happening today, but Kipto, if you can still hear me, please come back to the show. I don't know if you can still hear me, Kipto.
I can. Washira, I can hear you. Can you hear me from your end?
Yes, I can hear you, Kipto. Thank you. I can hear you. I think the networks today are really acting up. Now, I want us to get into the topic of discussion tonight. And I know you have been following up what is happening in the country and especially in the continent, especially things to do with the president. The president of Kenya has been up and down and in the world, and has been speaking about some things that has brought attention to really the topic of discussion today. That brings back the issue of the unification of Africa as a concept that need to be taken into it. But for the purpose of people who do not understand what you're talking about, can you just briefly tell us what exactly is Pan-Africanism and what you understand by Pan-Africanism?
Thank you so much, Shira. I would like to get direct into it. The topic of discussion tonight is one, that cannot be explained in abstract, because Pan-Africanism in itself as a concept can be traced back to so many years back. And although we had other people before who tried to really make this concept something, the real person that today we associate Pan-Africanism to is one W.E.B. Du Bois. And Pan-Africanism was something that was intended from its conception to bring the people of the African continent together. And these are people who had the same the same ancestral origin. These are people who shared beliefs, they shared cultures. These are people who looked like their neighbors. I mean, these were Black people. Although today Pan-Africanism includes everybody who belongs to the African continent. But from the word go, from its conceptualization, Pan-Africanism really meant that this was something that belonged to the Black man, because African continent was known to be a continent, the continent of the Black people. But today, as I've just said, the Pan-Africanism is something that is so wide, so that today, if we have white people, if we have red people, we all of them now belong to this umbrella called Pan-Africanism. So Pan-Africanism has had a history, a very long history, from the time of Du Bois to the times of Nkrumah, who are so recent, to the people we are seeing right now, like our own president, Mr. William Ruto. And without being partisan, or without even considering the person I supported during the previous election, I must confess that we are so lucky as a country to have one Mr. William Samoei Ruto in that document. And I'm saying this not because of what he's doing in the country, but because of what he's doing in regard to our topic of discussion tonight. William Ruto is at the forefront, with other leaders, in advocating for the African unity, because some of the core values, good people, of the Pan-Africanism, one of them was unity, and this unity of the African people was a result of the common ancestry that we all shared, the common beliefs that we had, in regard to our cultures, and so forth and so on. And so tonight, when you look at the leader that we have today, because you asked me to mention what is happening in the country and what our president is doing. When you look at how he speaks, when you look at the advancements he's making towards the unification of Africa, talk about the dollarization, the African free trade area, and a lot that is actually pushing for. You will appreciate having such good leaders, especially from this side of the continent, from East Africa to be specific. I must brag a little bit, although almost all our panelists today come from this region, but I must brag and say that East Africa today leads in the call towards the unification of Africa.
Okay. I hear you, Kipto. You're saying that you must brag because the people who are making advancements in terms of Pan-Africanism are coming from East Africa, especially in the forefront. I think you've mentioned President William Ruto. But I want to go back to Igusa here. Kipto is saying that he wants to brag about Pan-Africanism, that is the spirit of Pan-Africanism that is being reawakened here. But do you share the same sentiments? Because Igusa, I want to ask you, what exactly is hindering Pan-Africanism? Because despite the fact that Kipto is saying that things are going on well, but I'm sure all of us share the same thought here that it is not where it is supposed to be. We can do better. Now, for you, Igusa, what is making us being not to get where we want to get? What is hindering Pan-Africanism? What are the barriers to this continental cooperation in Africa?
Yeah, Mr. Wachira and Mr. Kipto, are you hearing me? I also wish to present my thoughts on Pan-Africanism.
Igusa, if you can hear us,
yeah. So we
think we have lost him there. Kipto, I don't know if you can please respond to the same question. I think the networks today, they're just bringing us a lot of problems. We have had the guy from Rwanda dropping out because of some network issues, and I can see also Igusa is experiencing some network issues. But Kipto, you're saying we're bragging. What makes you think that, or what do you think then is the barrier to Pan-Africanism?
Washira, looking back at the history of Pan-Africanism, and we will all agree that the sole and the only problem that Pan-Africanism has been facing all since its conception has been squarely on lack of leadership. Leadership in the sense that the people that we've entrusted with the role and the responsibility to actualize the initial the initial aspirations of our Pan-African fathers have not lived up to that dream. And so I would only associate it with, leadership. And not just leadership, but the interference of our leadership. Washira, there is a famous saying that he who pays the piper calls the tune. Most of our African leaders are in those offices or in those positions, courtesy of a foreign hand. This foreign hand, one, sponsors or ensures that this particular person is in office. That is one. Two, these people have a duty, therefore, to to respect and to adhere to the instructions of what I would call their masters. Because if they, Washira, I make you something. Let's say I make you a CEO, or sorry, not a CEO. Let me just use the head of a certain project. It will demand of you that you do as I require or as I instruct. So looking at this scenario, most of our leaders, are in those positions, courtesy of a foreign hand, as I've said before. And so every other time, before they make a decision, even the most minute decisions, they have to consult. They have to know what their masters are saying about it, if their masters are agreeing with it. And these masters are foreign people or foreign entities. These foreign entities have their own, their own agenda, which is good for their people and for their continents. So this leaves us in a very complicated position, where even those leaders who have the will to serve the people also have to please their masters, those who ensure that they're in those positions. So you can see that it all narrows down to leadership, lack of goodwill, and interference from outside forces.
Okay, I hear you. Thank you, Kipto. Thank you for that. Igusa, I was asking you a question before the network started misbehaving. The same question Kipto was just reacting to right now. What do you think is the barrier to this issue of Africa as a continent coming together? What is the barrier to Pan-Africanism in Africa? And please try and look at it, especially from your own country in Tanzania. What is it making us have this problem? Gusa.
Yeah. Thank you. To me, I think there is what I can say is a political desire of getting getting high positions. Like for us, we for 60 years now, only CCM has been in position, and the opposition are eagerly chasing over a chance to take the chair of being a president. So I think today, what real Pan-Africanism from our forefathers, what they have been trying to work out is a self-determination policy where we recognize each other as brothers, but also we can collaborate in different ways, politically, economically, and so forth. So to me, as in my country, I see a sense of true spirit of Pan-Africanism in a way, like thinking ahead of thinking for a country as a whole, not like something for yourself. Especially if I would see the way we try to elect our presidents after every 5 years, there has to be an election process. Whereas we have different pictures of the leaders who are coming in, the Chademas, the CCM, and the CAF, and so forth, ACT. So this to me really reminds me of a sense that we are moving well, and we are working in a dimension where our forefathers wanted, the likes of Martin DeLay, Alexandra Crummell, and Bryden. These were the pioneers of Pan-Africanism. But
I think you've once again lost Igusa there. Kipto, what is happening today? The networks are just misbehaving. Yeah.
There is a spirit that is against Pan-Africanism that is hovering in the in the forum.
There is a spirit that is hovering us, because you have to say it is against Pan-Africanism, because in the minute we try to do something, the conversation is started and then the network's lost. But I can see Igusa is back. Igusa, please go ahead and finish what you're saying.
Yeah, I was saying earlier that there is a lot of things that we have taken from our forefathers, the pioneers of Pan-Africanism, having a political freedom, having a political parties, having a socio-economic integration, and these things are working in today's era. But the challenge is the enemy that we are fighting today is quite different from what we have been fighting in the earlier stages. At first, it was all about colonialism and fighting for independence as Africans. Today, we are independent as countries where we can move freely, we can collaborate, we can exchange resources, we can do trade. And we are trying to live a vision. But in today's era, the Western friends, when we try to make things happen in our own ways, there is a way they try to stop us. What I can say, for example, like if we are to get loans, there are some conditions which deteriorate with our African cultures, maybe, or some loans are not friendly to our economy. So in a way, our leaders are really trying to work hard, trying to make Africa a better place and a place where we can stabilize our own economy. I'm impressed with recently initiatives that Mr. William Ruto has been doing, speaking around with French president and the affiliates, trying to tell him that even if we are to move at a global level, the IMF and the World Bank, when it comes to decision making, they favor the Europeans than the Africans. So we have no say. And what he was advocating, is it possible that we can have an independent body where even the African leaders, nations, they have their own say. They can say something and they can be given time to be responded. So I think we are in a battle, in a way, economic battle. Like we are trying to move forward, and yet we are being pulled down by some of the colleagues outside, the superiors. So in a way, we shouldn't step back. Like being pulled down, as if we cannot. We can still together as a nation, as a continent, move and make this place a better place. This economic integration, like ECOWAS, COMESA, EAC, they are very important in a way we can develop our own countries. What I can testify today, it's not the Europeans who can make Africa a better place. It is us, the Africans ourselves, through the policies and the movements which were laid prior by our forefathers. So today, as young generation, let us work hard in supporting our nation, our presidents, our leaders, and let us come in with our movements in a way we can hold hands together and make Africa a better place. Allow me to end here for now.
Thank you, Gusa. I can see there is a question that is coming from Grace Moreidi directly to you. And you know, Kiptua said that the spirits are not on our side today. I don't know, there's a spirit hovering against Pan-Africanism, even a simple conversation. Our networks are not working. And that shows us the character of our leaders. If our networks are not even working, I don't know why you guys are so hopeful today. But Grace Moreidi is saying that, hello, Mr. Gusa, you have mentioned political freedom. What does it mean to you? What does political freedom mean to you, Mr. Igusa?
Yeah. With political freedom, what I wish to say here, or what I can elaborate about political freedom, all matters related to Africans, they are to be decided by Africans themselves and not any other person who is not an African. Maybe if it's an American, or if it's a Chinese, or maybe if it's a French, and so forth. So we need to have our own freedom in a way we can express and do our politics. For example, I know of a reason that there are some presidents in Africa who they have overstayed in power, maybe. According to my research, there are more than 5 presidents who have overstayed in power. So sometimes if you'd ask people of the same nation, they will actually say, we believe in the president and we support the president. But it can be an against matter to the Western. They feel like it's not democracy. And now when they try to express their political will imposing in an African nation, what it causes, the effects to what can happen are greater. We have been seeing this to the late Muhammad Gaddafi, what has been happening, and his ideology in making Africa a one country. So what has been happening, that's what a political freedom is. African can express its development, can establish its progress with the African leaders themselves. It shouldn't be like someone invading you and imposing some strategies, some wills, imposing some things which might be against you. For example, sometimes in election, why do we need an external force to supervise our ballots? Are we not capable of ourselves? We have our military systems, we have our defense, we have our whatever we have, our resources in which we can express our own political wills, and things can happen. So that's the political freedom I'm talking about. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I can really see Grace Moredi is reacting to the conversation. I can see she's saying, love to hear this conversation. Thank you, Grace. I can see Kevin Vitzo saying he's following. Thank you, Kevin. All the way from Malindi. I can see Christopher Mwangi. Good to hear. Looking forward to a wonderful conversation. I can see Daniel Mwendo. I sent an emoji there. Dunga saying he's following. And at Baby Toto saying a good evening indeed. And also Senator Raphael saying good evening, I'm locked in. And somebody by the name of Esau is also waiting, but right now we are already in. So that was our previous comment. Thank you guys for commenting. Thank you for following the conversation. You can continue asking your questions, also sending just in your sentiments. I can see also Grace Moredi saying the economic battle is so real here in Kenya. Everything is fluctuating. And Kipto, I want you to come in on this. It is true. Right now, everything has become so much expensive in this country. I don't know if there is room there. We want to come to that country because Kenya, under this leadership, which Kipto is very proud of, we're having a lot of problems, especially economic battle. So, Kipto, as you think about that also, I want you to tell us, because we do agree. What we are agreeing, I think, today is that, yes, Pan-African spirit is there, but it is not where it should be. So, what then happens to us? What do you think should happen? Especially we have the AU in place, we have the African Union. So how can we strengthen ourselves? How can we do as African people to take our continent and our people to the next level? Kipto.
I'd like to begin, by speaking to the economic situation in our country currently. There's something there's a famous line that would probably sound cliche. They say there is no pain without gain, right?
Come on, Kipto, before you even start going there is no, what gain? What gain are we talking about? People are suffering. I don't know you people, if you are in that part of the country, are not suffering.
If we all agree that there is no pain without gain, yes, then no pain comes with the suffering. So that is why people are suffering, because they are undergoing pain so that they can gain.
And who said okay, Kipto, who said that you have to feel pain for you to gain?
Let me elaborate.
Yes?
Let me elaborate.
Elaborate, please.
You know, for a very long time, Kenya as a country has been surviving on debts. Every other activity in this country has always been under the funding of debts. You know, it is so unfortunate that as a country we can, we can solicit for debts or for loans, to pay salaries. Actually, I want you to picture this situation and Egusa as well. You have a strawberry farm, and you import your strawberries all the way from Tanzania to Guinea-Bissau or to Nigeria or to Niger. But then month in, month out, you have to, to seek for loans to pay for those who are working in your farm. Are you making any progress? When are you going?
You're not making any progress, and that's why I'm asking you, Kipto. You tell us what we should do, especially with the spirit of Pan-Africanism.
I'm coming there. I'm coming there. You see, how are you going to, to pay for these loans eventually? How are you going to service the loans? So what has been happening in Kenya is that even our recurrent expenditure has been depending on, on loans. So that if today, we were to, to get into our debt ceiling, what we are going to do, is to seek some leverage and and expand it, and push it. And it has happened before, you saw it, and push it higher, to a point where eventually, we will get blacklisted. We will be in a position where we will not be able to, to service for these loans, and the implications of that in the global in the global arena. So what I think what the current government is doing is, to try and live within its own means. What is happening is this: the government is trying, to create mechanisms where, our revenue is well collected, where our activities, most of our activities are funded internally using our own money. And by doing this, the amount of debt in the future that we will be servicing will be much lower. And by lowering, the debt that we are servicing, we are able to.
Sorry to cut you short, but please remember the topic of today. Don't go to start talking about this government. I want you to come back to the topic.
I'm coming back to the topic. You had actually somebody had asked Mureithi or somebody had asked.
Let me even read that. Amanda Mora is saying that, oh no, I think Kipto misunderstands the adage of no pain, no gain. And she's also saying that we don't object that some of the proposals concerning the new taxing amendment, the problem is the people chairing the proposal. Let's be real. I can see also Baby Toto saying that, Igusa, don't you think when Africa president go out there to ask for some partnerships in projects will bring out the long era? They in quotes still think they are better. What's your thoughts? Thank you for the comments. I also can see Liv Laugh and Love saying that what we should know and learn is that it's not only Kenya. A lot of countries are in tough situations right now. Igusa will be telling us if Tanzania is a little bit tough, like Kenya. But Kipto, one more time, let's go back to you and please address the question of today.
Okay, let me get back on track and say that we already have institutions in place, specifically the African Union, and I think someone described it when it was still, called Organization of the African Union, something of that sort, OAU. And somebody described it as a toothless, bulldog. And sorry to say this, but I think the toothless bulldog that was is still, because the problem with AU is that it is not empowered. We do not really know the functions of this organization. We do not feel it, and I do not think we are going to feel it if we are not going to. We are going to feel it if we are not going to change things. The African Union has been something that is so amorphous. It evades a real explanation of an organization, because looking at what exactly defines an organization that is well planned in terms of regional organizations like the EU, like the United States of America. Let me just call it, because it's an organization of so many countries, of so many states that came together. One, we need to look at our defense. Two, we need to look at our economic structures. In this case, currency. You look at the African Union and you really wonder, has it really achieved what the intention of its creation detailed? Because right now we just have a military that exists on paper. But if today, if one African country was to be invaded, by a foreign country or something, a foreign entity, we do not have mechanisms in place, for the African army to be there in time and rescue the situation. We do not still have over 40 currencies. We still have the chair of the African Union not known. I sometimes ask people if they know the chair of the African Union, and surprisingly they do not know. And I personally, I rarely get to hear from that man. So what exactly is the African Union doing? So the problem is that the African Union has not been empowered. It has not been given enough muscle, to achieve its purpose. So we cannot. I cannot blame it, and I cannot blame those who are holding positions in the organization. But then they do not have the power. They do not have the power, because the power still lies in our individual countries and in our individual leaders. So that is, I think, the problem of our union.
Thank you, Kipto, and thank you. You have gone back to the topic of today, because I see people out here are so interested in that. I think that we'll have it another day, because you can see Amanda Mora is still going back to the topic and say, and we're not saying that all the new taxing proposals are in bad order to combat debt, but the problem is those are who are chairing and championing it. I can also see Elvis Mutugi saying that closely following, and I have a question for Kipto. Why do we borrow? Is our revenue not enough to service our needs? And does the loans really go where they are needed? Kipto will be reacting to that later. But I want to go back to you, Gosa, because there was a question which was posed to you. But you'll also tell us if your country, you have new taxes. I hear people in Kenya are complaining that we are building houses for other people. And I don't know what is happening in this country of ours, Igusa. I don't know. Maybe you tell us what is happening in that part of the continent. But also, as you tell us that, you tell us, and especially in relation to Pan-Africanism, also you answer or react to what Baby Toto was saying. Igusa, don't you think when Africa president go out there to ask for some partnership in projects, will bring out the long era. I mean, they still think they are better. What's your thoughts, Igusa?
Yeah, thank you, Baby Toto, for the nice question. To be honest, we are bombarded with poverty, and at least for now. But back in the days, maybe 30 or 50 years back, it was an extreme poverty, where we couldn't manage to do a lot of things by ourselves. Today, we are in an era trying to compete against neighboring countries in terms of economy-wise, but also in a way that we could keep friendship with our friends from the Westerns. Many African countries cannot support themselves in terms of project management, but also establishing their own projects by their own money, their own currency. That's why it forced us sometimes to go back and get partnership, request loans, or sometimes we use some grants, or sometimes we tend to trade, like establish a certain project, maybe if it's in a port authorities for a certain number of years. Thereafter, the contract will end so that we have gained something. So in one way or the other, for us to grow economically and being stable, we need the external force to impose some investment inside our countries. We are struggling from diseases like malaria, like HIV, AIDS, like diabetes. We are lacking some medicines. We have some infrastructures which are not yet to be performed to the extreme. We have many other factors. So the coming in with Western people, like maybe the Americans, or sometimes if we are to have the Chinese from Asia, at least there are some countries who comes in with good conditions, good terms, like the way they will invest, they will leave you with a good economic status, or they will invest in for some time so that there will be a win-win kind of situation. But there are some conditions when we make partnership with the outside world, it makes a problem to the rest of the communities, and it's from there when it brings a political pooling. To an extent, we can, to an extent that even the one who is suffering now is a lower citizen, a normal citizen. So this has been a challenge to most of African countries. So we welcome them, we establish partnership, but our African leaders, there should be a very keen observation in which kind of loans, in which kind of project we are entering, plus the agreements. What do you put in so that that agreement can be established, that project can be established, and for what time? For example, right, where University of Dar es Salaam was built by the Chinese. And today it's been serving a lot of people outside Tanzania as well. Of recently, we have been having friends from 150 students from Somalia who have just come in to continue pursuing medical staffs. Medical causes in Tanzania. So there are some projects that if we are to incur in agreement with the Western, with the outside people, they bring benefits to us. But there are some countries when we establish a partnership with them, it causes troubles. For example, now if today, in order for you to receive maybe some support on malaria, you'll have to accept gayism, being gay or LGBTQ. So in a way, you try to reason for what it disturbs your people inside the country. So I think I have tried to answer somehow, but back to the question, what Mr. Kipto was saying, even in Tanzania, the situation is the same. If I can recall back to what the late John Pombe Magufuli, late John Pombe Magufuli and Mama Samia, these are two different presidents with different paradigms. What the late had believed in, we can do whatever we can by our own means. We can use our own revenues, inside the revenues, by paying tax, by the resources that we have, the tourism attractions that we have, but also the neighboring countries who are our friends. We can benefit from them. But Mami comes in and saying it's okay to do that, but it's also okay have an external coordination in matters related to economics. That's why she has been going to US, she has been going to France, she has been going to China, she has been going to Arab in Dubai. So all these routes that she has been establishing, it's because she believes that by collaborating with the friends from other countries, they can invest into our country and we can benefit from them. Of recently, it has been an ongoing debate about the port in Dar es Salaam.
Okay.
We have been noticing the Karioko market, a lot of
Okay. I think we have lost Gusto there one more time. Kipto, I hope you are hearing also that in Tanzania there's something that is almost similar to what is happening in Kenya. I don't know if Gusa can still hear us. I can see he's back on the line, but I can see more comments coming in. Allow me to read them before. Let's see if maybe Igusa will be able to be back online. I can see Metro Dennis saying, wonderful, looking forward for a nice discussion. I see my best friend Ken Kipto. Okay, Kipto, I think that's for you. And also Amanda, at some point she said, yes, that's a topic of discussion for another day. That was when we were talking about the finance bill, because I saw Elvis Botugi had posted a question on that, on the finance bill. But that's a topic for another day. I can see also a comment from Dunga saying that if I am interested in how exactly the African Union can be given more muscle, is it an overall function of strengthening of the AU as an independent organization, or it's the cooperation of the African governments under the African Union? Kipto, please, can you react to that briefly, because I can see now time is not on our side.
Thank you. I think one of the biggest problems, as in regard to why the AU is not strengthened, is because typical African leaders do not want to let power go, because by strengthening AU, and that means we are strengthening its leaders, right? And by doing so, it means our leaders will have to give up, or to to let go of some of the powers that they have, so that the AU can be in charge of some various aspects of governance. And our African leaders are really not willing to let go of their power. And what Dunga is asking is so relevant, and it is so important, because if we do not strengthen AU, then all the talk that is going that is happening around the continent will be as useless. And so the thing that needs to be done right now is for individual African governments to be willing to let go of some of its power. And I think we are headed there, because looking at some of our African leaders, they are now beginning to ask questions. They are now beginning to call upon their counterparts in various parts of the continent to really come together and give power to this organization.
Okay. Thank you, Kipto. Thank you for that. Goose, I can see your back, and before your network also does something again, please finish up on what you're telling us. What is happening in Tanzania? You're telling us about Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan. I don't know if she's also bringing a finance bill there. Just tell us briefly. You were saying something on the state of the whatever was happening there. I can see also the network has lost again. Okay. Now, Kipto, a question has come in for you. Metro Dennis saying, If we borrow, does the money go to the required projects? Please clarify. That is also a topic under finance bill. You'll be clarifying that, Kipto. But before that, let me just mention a few names here. I can see some other people are watching through another stream. I can see, but many people today are complaining about the network. I can see Samuel Muigai saying that wherever he is, the network pia yake inasumbua sana. I can see somebody by the name Mr. Peter Kibe saying he's watching. Gedith Chepchirchir saying that she's in. Adoro Mondi also is in. You know, some comments coming in here. They can fast. Now, Constance Elijah is in, and also Madame Wawero, they are also watching from the other side. Thank you very much. Now, Kipto, please react to Metro Dennis. I know today has been one hell of a show because we are moving from one topic to the other. And I hope when the finance bill has been passed, Kipto will come back here and now we talk about it exhaustively once it has started, operating. Because right now we are waiting for the assent of the president to make it a law. So we are going to come back and talk about this because I can see our Kenyan people are really interested in this discussion. So a question to you, Kipto: if we borrow, does the money go to the required projects? Please clarify. And keep it brief, please. Keep it brief.
Yeah, real quick. Meto, this money do not go to the required projects. Neither does it go to other projects. It goes to the pockets of few individuals in what we is now referred to as budgeted corruption. Thank you. I'll prefer that I leave it there so that we focus on today's topic. That is a topic for another day. We will need to really speak into it exhaustively.
Okay, Kipto, as you are that, I can see Omar Maulid, also a very good friend of the show, saying that the US economy in itself is in debt. We get the dollar from them and they also take loans. Imagine. The guys holding the power are Akina, Rockefeller, Walton. I think a new financial model is needed. Yeah, I think this topic I think, Kipto, we have to come back and talk about the finance bill and anything that pertains to this topic because people are really interested with it. I also see some comments are coming in on my WhatsApp and they are really interested with the finance bill. So, Kipto, I hope when you... Yeah, please go ahead.
May I say that this is a very good indication, that the African young people specifically are now, they are now woke and they know what exactly is happening. I must admit that I love this. When you see, young people, speaking to such very critical topics, it means we are aware of what is happening. And that is a really good step, towards emancipating ourselves. By being aware and being knowledgeable of what is happening across the world.
I love the way you have put it, Kipto, that, by the way, I wanted to say this as we are coming to a conclusion. Pan-Africanism, just like charity, it begins at home. The fact that now people are now interested, and especially the youth, people of our age bracket, are now interested in things like the finance bill, whatever is happening to the country, and that shows also an indication of that. People are now being aware of what is happening, and eventually, hopefully, it is the same spirit that will take us to a Pan-Africanism spirit across the continent. Now, Kipto, I please would like to get your final comments before we wrap it up, because I can see time is not on our side, and the topic of today has changed, and I want to say that we are going to arrange for us to discuss this topic, especially for the Kenyan people, to have a good, candid discussion about the Finance Bill 2023. Kipto?
Thank you once again. I really do not think that we've that we've exhaustively, talked about Pan-Africanism entirely. I think we've just touched on it.
Yeah.
And I love, I love the discussion. I love the, the comments. It really shows that we are headed somewhere.
Yes.
So one thing that I would really not want to end this without mentioning is that a tree, just like a tree, Pan-Africanism and especially the unification of Africa is not something that will just happen within the bracket of one generation. And I said that just like a tree, one generation will have to plant it, the next generation will have to water it, the next generation will have to prune it, and the next, lo and behold, we will have a full tree with the fruits. So I would like to finish by saying this: two things. There is need for radicalization of the African people. It might sound radical, but we have to get radicalized. Nowadays when I walk around and I meet kids, who are coming from school, and they tell me that nowadays they play the Kenyan anthem and the East African anthem, that they raise two flags, the Kenyan flag and the East African flag. I get to see progress. And whenever I meet them, I ask them, what do you think? What are your aspirations? And it's so embarrassing that all these want to go to Australia, they want to go to Canada, they want to go to America.
Especially Australia, people from that side of your of the country, especially your place, all of them are going to Australia.
all of them. Nowadays, you meet people and everybody is planning to go out there.
Yeah,
And so I was talking about radicalization. There is need to teach the African people, the African young people, of the injustices that have been meted upon our continent. By doing this, by radicalizing our people, we get them to we get to make them angry. You cannot achieve something if you are not angry, for that thing that you really need. So we need to make our people angry. We need and to know that injustice has been meted on our continent, and it is unfair, and that there is something needs to be done. Number two, and the final one, there is need to start from the very basic foundation of the society, and that is in our schools. You see, there is need to introduce political, studies in our schools, not in the strict sense of it, but there is need to teach our children, about the African history. There is need to teach our children about the enormous resources that we have as a continent. There is need to teach, our children about the same injustices that I talked about. By doing this and by making them know that we are not lesser beings. They grow up knowing, that our continent is great. Our continent has been, has been unjustly treated for so long, and that we are going to change our continent. So, Washira and everybody who's watching us, whenever you go and when you meet these young people, tell them that being black is a good thing. Tell them that our countries, and our continent will be great, and that there is no need, to aspire going out there. We can make our own continent great. Thank you so much, Washira, for having me.
Thank you, Kipto, for being here in a very special manner. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everybody who has watched. And also in a special manner, I want to thank Gus all the way from Tanzania. He has left because of some network issues. We apologize for that. And also Jean from Rwanda, who did not join us from the start, also experiencing some network issues. I want to apologize for that. I don't know what is happening today. There's some network issues. But over and above, we are so grateful for you tuning in, sending in your comments, subscribing and sharing. We are very grateful. We're going to arrange for that conversation with Kipto and other people to talk about the finance bill in the country. But for now, we want to ask you, continue sharing, continue subscribing, continue commenting, and stay tuned. Next week, we are also having a very interesting conversation. Today, we have not even talked much about Pan-Africanism. We've just mentioned it because of some network issues. Thank you very much. I want to wish you a wonderful week ahead, and God bless. Keep the spirit of Pan-Africanism alive.